Welcome guys. In this video, we will cover Docker volume and exposing our containers with port redirects. Docker volumes is very important in which we can able to mount data into the Docker container. Volume management is really a challenging job. So Docker has simplified our activities in terms of volume management, specifically the disk, the local disk attaching to the container. Now let's go into the commands. So Docker info. When we type the Docker info, it will have the complete information. So how many images is running, how many containers we have been there, paused, stop, and we will have the volume details and what is the Docker images, root directory, where it has been stored, how much is the memory, architecture. So we will have the complete information here. Now let's create the Docker my volume. So I've created a new volume called my volume, and let's check the name of the volume now. Okay, so I have my volume two times, so let me delete that. Docker volume rm. Okay, so it's a wrong name there. Okay, so it's my volume, and now let's inspect the my volume. We have it under this directory var lib docker my volumes. Okay, so we have it in this location now, underscore data. So let's mount this volume into a container now, and let's see how it performs. So I can see the local disk is attached into the container. And similar fashion, I have another option called make a directory, and let me create a directory and mount it into the container. So I've created it slash web files. Okay, so I've already created an index.html file. Now let's let's hello world and hello docker. Now I will mount this to a web1 container. So cd var www html, and we can see our data into the container. So this is the volume management. Now let's go to the port redirection. So what I mean by port redirection, okay? So exposing our container with port redirection. For a container to listen on a port, it has to be exposed to underlying host. When we run a Docker container, so what we do normally is starters. You can see the ports here. It's currently blank, which means that the container doesn't listen on any ports right now. So I'm going to launch a container, and I'm going to redirect the port from 8080 to 80. So let's pull a latest Nigix. Let me download it from the internet. So I'll pull the latest Nigix web server. So I'm pulling it now. So I think it won't take much time to pull. Here you go. So I have the latest Nigix latest one. Let me add it now. Now you can see the ports listening on 8080, sending traffic to the web server on 80. So I think this Docker is up and running. So Docker is up and running. So let's check the IP address here. So IP address is 121. Okay, so let's curl them and see whether we get the output or not. So yeah, so we're getting the web server now. Let's go to the browser, colon 8080. Oops, I'm sorry, I typed it wrongly. Here you go. So we got the web server. So how does it really work? So in Docker, we have an option called packet forwarding that's been enabled on a Docker container. On a Docker, we have sysctl IP enable forwarding is turned on. So when we Docker act as a router and Docker physical OS normally behaves as a router. So if we check on the Docker, we have the option bridgectl show to see there's an okay, there's one more important parameter I forgot to inform you. There's an IP tables -n -v, and at the same time IP tables -t -d not -v. Okay, so you can see the ports of a Docker container being forwarded to the targeted host. So initially, the container on the Docker host basically act as a router, and at the same time it has also act as a packet forwarder to the segments. So dbt is a port and which is getting forwarded on to http. So what we are confirming here is that is IP tables and sysctl plays a vital role on the Docker. So in next video we will be covering Docker networking. Thank you all.